Welcome to my project. Hey everyone, I'm Joey Troxel from DIY Project Guys, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install this Hampton Bay linear track lighting system. I'm installing it in my garage, but you can install it in any indoor space in your home. The reason I chose track lighting in my garage because it allows me to put the lights in and aim them wherever I want. It's fully customizable, it's easy to install, and it's a really durable product. Plus, it was a really economical price point. I use my garage all the time as my workspace, and that works really good when it's daylight and I've got the garage door open and there's plenty of sunlight coming in like there is right now. But when it's nighttime and that garage door is closed, it's just not a usable workspace with that old fluorescent light that I had. You can see here how dark it was with the garage door closed and that one light on. I really needed more light to be able to use this as a workspace with the door closed. I mean, right now it's 106 degrees outside and I'm sweating. So even in the daylight, in the summer, I want that garage door closed. For this project, you need just a few simple tools. You probably have them on hand: a cordless screwdriver, a cordless drill, and a hacksaw. All right, let's get started. Here's the list of materials that I used for this project. 4 4-foot linear track sections, I used white. 1 track power feed in white. 2 right-angle 90-degree connectors. These come in white, but they're packaged with a black cover in case you're doing black. 3 track-to-track connectors. These are also sold in white and come with covers for other colors. And 6 medium bulb track light heads in white. I also bought 6 bulbs from Amazon that weren't shown here. The first thing I needed to do was set up a work table. I do not work on the floor. Next, I started laying out all my parts to make sure I had everything I need for this project. And I needed everything to be in order because I'm an obsessive compulsive person. Here's a shot of everything we have here. These are the 4 4-foot sections. The lights just snap right into those. And they come with mounting hardware and instructions, which is really nice. Next, I've got these 90-degree track connectors. These are the corners. See, they come in the white, but they have those black covers on it, so it works for either the white or the black system. Then I've got this track power feed. That goes into the outlet box. This is specifically for white. Next, I've got my track-to-track connectors or couplers. These come in white, but they're packaged with covers in other colors. And then I've got my actual light heads. I've got 6 track light heads here. I just wanted something simple that I can screw regular bulbs in. Notice it says medium base bulbs. That's a regular bulb. The first thing I did was make sure the power was off. Then it was time to grab the ladder and take down that old fixture. You can see here I'm just unscrewing it with my cordless DeWalt screwdriver. I love that thing. And it was pretty easy to get down. I just had to get the 2 screws off on each side. Next, I'm taking out the bulbs here. I just have to twist these to the left or to the right and they'll come out. Then I'm taking off the middle piece here so I can get to the screws and the wiring. Now you can see all the wiring. Next, I disconnected the wiring. Remember, make sure the power is off first before you do this. Once the wiring is disconnected, I use my cordless screwdriver to undo the screws that are holding this thing into the ceiling. I was careful when I was taking it down to make sure it didn't rip any of the wires out of the outlet box. And you can see here that I've completely removed it from the ceiling. Demo is done. The first piece of this thing we're going to install is this power feed. This goes right onto the electrical box, so it's the first piece that has to be set up. Let's unbox it and see what's in here. You can see here I've got the mounting plate for the ceiling, and then I've got the white cover that goes over the tracks. First, I'm using my cordless screwdriver to unscrew the cover from the mounting plate. Next, I'm going to take out all the wiring hardware so I can go mount this thing. You can see here it comes complete with the wire nuts and the mounting hardware. These will go right into the existing box and they'll screw right up into it. And then you can see here this part will go right into the track. So here I am connecting my wires first. It's a simple system. It's the hot wire, the black wire to the black wire, the common wire white to white, and then the green wire to the bare wire, which is the ground. And here I've got a nice close-up for you. This is very entry-level stuff. Anybody could do this. Now I'm taking the screws and screwing it through the mounting plate into the electrical box. And the plate just mounts right up there with the existing box. I just do it by hand to get started, and then I use my cordless screwdriver to tighten it up. Here's a nice close-up view of it. You want to make sure you've got the plate exactly where you want it because that cover plate mounts on there to those 2 open screw holes, and you want to make sure it's going in the right direction. Next, I've got my tape measure out, trying to figure out how much of a track I need on this one side. Once I have that number, then I can go down and get the tracks together. After that, I measure my tracks. It's more than 4 feet, so I'm going to have 1 4-foot section and then part of another section. Here I am measuring the part of the other section I need, and I'm just going to cut it with the hacksaw. You can see here I'm using my speed square to make a line from where I measured, And then I'm turning this thing over and I'm just making the line all the way around. Next, I got my hacksaw. I'm just going to cut this thing right here on the ladder because my table has all the parts on it. So now that I've got that cut piece of track, I'm going to open up a 4-foot section of track. You can see right here, here's all the mounting hardware. It does come with butterfly nuts, which is amazing because that's really what I want when I'm mounting light fixtures to the ceiling. If I'm not going to get studs, I want butterfly nuts. Here I'm showing you how I'm mounting these two pieces together. I'm going to use this coupler, this track-to-track coupler, and I'm going to open it up and get out the pieces that I need here. And you have to be really careful with this. You can see here, one side has 2 fins and the other side has 1. They both have 2 sections where they connect, but you can see right here, there's 2 fins on one side and 1 fin on the other. Here's the track right here. You can see right here, you've got one side with the brass or copper groove, and you got the other side with 2 brass or copper grooves. So those have to match up with the number of fins coming off the connector. The connector has this plastic white piece on it. You want to pull on the ends and pop the piece out of the cover. And here you can see, once the cover's off, you can put one of the other colors on. Here's the tan color cover if you needed to use that, if your whole system was tan. Mine's white, so that one's going back on. Now that I have the connector free of the cover, I'm going to undo the tightening screw. This is the screw that once it's together, it tightens in to make sure the pieces don't come apart. Right now I need it loose so I can get it together. Next, I'm going to take the connector and slide it right into the piece that I cut. Again, make sure that the 2 fins are going to the 2 grooves and the 1 fin is going to the 1 groove. You may have to smack it in there. And then once it's in, you want to tighten it with the tightening screw. On the other piece, I'm going to undo the end cap so I can get it ready to put in the connector. And then I'm just going to pull the piece off. Again, I'm paying attention to which side has the 2 grooves and which side has the 1. That'll tell you which side of that track section you need to put that thing on. Now that was done, I can take my connector that's already on one side of the track and stick it right into this side of the track. And then I can take my screwdriver and tighten it down. And that'll keep that whole section of track together. Now I'm just tightening both screws to make sure they're both in. And this section of track is ready to hang. So here's a pro tip if you're working by yourself. When you're putting the first piece in, on the power feed connector, just stick it through the wires. That'll hold it up there when you're working on it. While I'm doing this, I'm trying to line this thing up. I can see where the old holes were, so I know about where this needs to go in order to be in a straight line. So I'm just making my mark with the pencil up there for the first hole. Next, I'm drilling a hole into the ceiling. I'm using a 1/2-inch bit here. It has to be big enough to be able to push those butterfly nuts into the ceiling so they can grab. And then that's what I'm doing here. I've got a screw going through the track section with a butterfly nut on the other side, and I've squeezed the butterfly nut closed. I'm sticking it through the ceiling. You got to make sure it goes all the way in there and opens up on the other side of the ceiling. And then once I get that in, I'm going to snug it up a bit. I don't want to make it too tight, but I want to snug it up enough for me to start working on the other side. Next, I'm doing the same thing on the other side. I've got 2 holes here. I've got a hole for the other end of that long track, and then there's a hole on the short track. Again, I'm just putting a screw through the section of track and then threading a butterfly nut on the other side of the screw. You can see here, the butterfly nut's open, and then I'm just gonna close it with my fingers and then push it through that hole. I'm gonna do that with both of them. And then once they're in, I'm gonna grab my screwdriver, push up the screw so the butterfly nut opens, and then tighten it up. I'll make sure to do that to both of them so they're both nice and snug. At this point, I can tighten these things completely. But you have to remember to go back and tighten up the other one on the other side. Here you can see how the track goes through these grooves on the mounting plate on the ceiling, and then you use your screwdriver on each side to tighten it up. So that's why it's important that that mounting plate be in the direction that you want this to be, because you can't change it. Now it's time to put the power connector onto the track. Here I am showing you again that one side of this has 2 fins and one side has 1 fin. The way you put this on is you put it in the track and then turn it. So you have to make sure when you're turning it, you're turning the 2 fins to the 2 side and the 1 fins to the 1 side. Otherwise, you're going to damage the track. While I was up here, before I put this cover on, I want to make sure this is all working. So I stuck in one of the lights, and then I'm going to go out and turn the power back on. And there you can see it's on. So I shut the power back off, took that light out, and then continued on. Here I'm just screwing the cover on. It's real simple. It's just 2 screws. And you can see right here the finished piece. That is the track power for the entire track, and it's nice and clean looking. We're ready to move on. Next, I'm going to have to open up these 90-degree connectors because now the track is going to turn. So you can see here, it's a 90-degree connector, and it's in white, but it also comes with a bronze or black plate if you're doing, you know, the black color or the bronze color or whatever it is. Once I open this thing up, again, it's got fins on each side. On this side, you've got two fins, a bronze copperish color and a steel color. But it's still two fins. It works the same way. And on the other side, you have one fin. So remember, when you're putting this into your track, you have to put this thing in the right way. Here again, I'm showing you, you've got two grooves on one side, one groove on the other. So I have to line that up with the correct side of those connectors. Here I am just getting this track ready to put this connector on. And now I'm gonna slide the connector right in, making sure that I have the groove set up correctly before I put it in so I don't damage anything. Then I'm gonna use my cordless screwdriver to snug this thing up with the tightening screws. Now it's time to get it in there so I can get a measurement. I'm using a blank section of track here with this connector because I know once it connects up on the ceiling, it needs a whole section of track. So I'm using this makeshift brace because I'm working by myself, and it's just two pieces of wood clamped together at the exact size I need. And that'll hold it on the ceiling so I can make some measurements. Here's a better view here. Now that I got this where I want it, I can make the marks on the ceiling for the screw holes. So one thing I want to show you here, not only am I going to have a 4-foot section, but I'm going to have a small section on the other end of it. This does not have any screw holes in it. Where I cut this, I had cut it after the screw holes. So I have to drill screw holes into this to make sure I have some way to screw it into the ceiling. So here I'm just marking some spots where I think screw holes should go. You really just need one because the connector will hold it on the other side, but it might be a good idea to put two depending on how long your shorter piece is. I'm just using a drill to go right through it, and then I'm adding it on to the end of the piece that's already up there. And now I'm going to make my mark up there so I know where to drill a hole. Now it's time to take this whole section down so I can get the holes drilled. It's the same process as before. I'm making the holes a 1/2 inch wide so I can get the butterfly nuts in there. And I'm just continuing on with all 3 screw holes here. I want to make sure I get them all done because once I get that track back up the second time, I don't want to take it down again. So here I am with the track up. I've got some screws with butterfly nuts into the ceiling, and I'm using my cordless screwdriver to snug everything up. And you'll notice I did put the end on the cap too, so it's a complete job. It's looking good. Now I'm on to the other side. And I'm basically doing the same thing. I've got my makeshift brace. That looks like it's going to do the job perfectly. And you can see here, I've got the whole section of track already assembled. Because I had already assembled the other side, I just did 2 of them because this side was going to be the same size. Next, I'm using a pencil again to mark where I'm going to drill my holes. And then once again, I've taken the track down so I can drill all the holes that I need to secure this thing into the ceiling. Then I'm going around with my cordless screwdriver, and I've got my screws with the butterfly nuts in them, and I'm just going to make sure those are all in nice and snug. You can see here I'm now snapping in the covers for the track-to-track connectors, and now I'm putting the lights in where I think I want them to go. Remember, the lights have to go in a certain way so you don't damage the track. Always know if you're on the 2-fin side or the 1-fin side. So I just continued on with where I was putting the lights. I kind of made the best decisions I can. I wanted them to point specifically at different things. And I'm just continuing to move around and put the lights in. I had 6 altogether, but I'm going to go back and get a few more because I don't have enough. And here you have the finished product. It's a nice, clean look for the garage. I absolutely love it. And if I want to add on to this, it's really simple to do. I'll just buy a few more sections of track and a few more lights. Mission accomplished. All right, so what do you think? Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. This new lighting has completely changed the way I use my DIY workspace. I will have a link below this video for all the tools that I use, and I'll have a supply list for everything I use in this video in case you want to do the same project at your home. That's it for today. Hit that like button. Show us some love. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we have a new video, usually on Wednesdays. And please leave a comment below. Did you buy this lighting system? Did you attempt to install it? Have you had any luck with it? Let me know. I'd love to hear it. All right, until next time, if you want something done right, do it yourself.